Thank you to the Garfield Athletic Band. Now, please welcome to the stage Kenny Wadrago, former intern for the mayor's office through the Seattle Youth Employment Program.
Good afternoon, Seattle, and welcome everyone to Seattle's 2025 State of the City Address. My name is Kenny Wadrago, and I'm a senior at Seattle Preparatory School, where I serve as the student body president and the president of our Black Student Union. Thank you. And for the past 2 summers, I have had the honor of interning in the office of Mayor Bruce Harrell as a constituent services intern through the Seattle Youth Employment Program. And in this role, thank you. And in this role, I helped read and respond to letters and emails from Seattleites about the many issues our city and region faces. By seeing the inner workings of city government, I learned more about the importance local government plays in shaping our lives. I also learned that service at all levels in any capacity brings together the many communities that make us one Seattle. And speaking of public service, I am now about to introduce someone who embodies service through compassion and unity in everything that he does, striving to make all of us one Seattle. Bruce Harrell was born and raised in Seattle. He worked as an attorney before serving on the Seattle City Council and is currently our mayor. He is Seattle's first Asian American, first biracial, and second Black mayor. Bruce grew up in the Red Line Central District, graduated from Garfield High School, who just gave an amazing performance. And he attended the University of Washington on a football scholarship where he won a Rose Bowl and then continued at UW for law school. Bruce served on the city council for 3 terms where he was a leader in racial equity, public safety reform, and economic and educational opportunity. And he was elected city council president by his peers twice. In 2021, Bruce was elected mayor of Seattle on a commitment to address the homelessness crisis, to ensure public safety for all, and to restore trust, hope, and unity in local government and city life. So without further ado, everyone, please put your hands together for the Mayor of Seattle, Mr. Bruce Harrell.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon. Boy, that feels good. Good afternoon, Seattle. I'm very excited to share a few words with you, and I want to present the 2025 State of the City Address. And I have to tell you, there's so much to say. There's so much to do. I'm honored to be joined by so many distinguished guests, the members of the Seattle City Council, King County Council, City Attorney Ann Davidson and King County Prosecutor Lisa Mannion, our community leaders, residents, friends, business leaders, nonprofit leaders, people from every neighborhood in this city. Thank you for being here. Now, I don't think all of you attend the symphony sometimes. Maybe you do. I don't know. But it seems like nothing gets people more excited than hearing a politician speak. So thank you for being here in this great hall, and here we go. Again, I want to thank Benaray Hall for hosting us. The Garfield band, as Kenny mentioned, were just awesome. As an intern in our office, Kenny should know that he inspired me. He's a young person with a positive outlook and a passion to serve our community. His resume speaks with community service. He has a positive outlook, which is essential, I think, to get things done. And when I first gave my State of the City address 3 years ago, I was sitting on the 7th floor of City Hall. There were about 10 people on that first speech. All of them were sitting with me. They were masked up, black masks, as I recall. COVID was ongoing, as you recall. Our parks were filled with tents, unfortunately. People were living in inhumane conditions. Crime were new highs. Our downtown was silent. And Seattle felt gloomier than perhaps even the grayest winter day. But what do? What did you all do? Day by day, we worked together to get our city back on the right track. Restoring parks, reducing the crime rate, getting downtown bustling again. I think there's a different mood in the city, a different spirit, if you will, a renewed spark, a renewed belief, an optimism that we are on the right trajectory. Now, to put that feeling into words and to claim our action, we describe it as Seattle being on the rise. Now, we all know we have a lot of work to do. So we're not hanging the mission accomplished banner on the door. Now, Seattle's never been that way. We will always seek new heights, new firsts, new ambitions, new breakthroughs, new innovations. We learn how to reinvent ourselves again and again with the same soul, but with a renewed spirit. Seattle is rising. Now, as much as I would like to celebrate the progress we've all collectively made over the last several years, we can't talk about the state of Seattle, our city, without recognizing the state of our nation. Now, as mayor, my focus has been local, generally leaving national politics to the national pundits. But today, as the other Washington casts a dark cloud over our local skies, we must be loud. We are a polarized country right now. Make no mistake about that, I will not mince words. We have a federal administration focused on division and working every day to drive us apart. Now, I'm not being an alarmist when I say we should have grave concerns for what the Trump administration has in store for our city and its people. The actions and the rhetoric coming from the White House take aim at parts of our community that we value central as to who we are. Our LGBTQ plus community as an example, our community, our trans individuals as an example, our immigrant and refugee neighbors, our women, our working families. Unconstitutional executive orders and bad economic policies will mean revenue impacts and fewer resources to invest in local services that truly make a difference. But those who work with me know that I'm not a defeatist. Heck, when I was watching the Super Bowl, I still thought Kansas City had a chance to come back at halftime. I don't see defeat when a champion is on the field. So let me be clear, when Seattle's local values and our policies and our priorities are challenged by unlawful federal actions, we will not hesitate to do everything in our power to defend our people and our rights. We fight here in Seattle. There's so much chaos coming out of the other Washington that is often difficult to tell what is serious and what's spectacle. Now, our office is collaborating closely with state and local government partners to provide a coordinated and very appropriate rapid response. Attorney General Nick Brown is ensuring that Washington State remains at the forefront of protecting our constitutional rights. And just last week, the city of Seattle announced that it will join local governments from around the country in suing the Trump administration over the withholding of federal funds based on our sanctuary status. We reject the Trump administration's effort to commandeer local law enforcement and defund our local safety efforts by threatening grants to support investigations into some of our critical areas: sexual assault, child exploitation, domestic violence, services for our survivors, 911 dispatch, and many other critical public safety priorities. Before the change in administrations, I issued a mayoral directive making clear that SPD and city employees will continue to follow state and local laws, serving all residents, no matter their immigration status. We will continue to work with our immigrant community, making sure that they know their rights and they have our support. And while some may try to erase the letters DEI from the alphabet, I'm proud that Seattle recognizes what diversity, equity, and inclusion actually mean. It means that giving every person a fair shot improves outcomes, that seeking a level playing field for everyone is one of the most basic principles of building a strong and just America. Now, I'm not the only one who thinks this. Look at the voters of Washington State who consistently elect 2 women to the United States Senate, who sent our first openly LGBTQ representative to Congress, who elected the largest Black legislative delegation on the West Coast. We recently selected an African-American president to head the University of Washington and a female president to head Washington State University because we believe in their excellence and their perspective. That is diversity at its finest. And for those cougs out there, outside of the Apple Cup, I give nothing but love to WSU. It's just during that week. The antidote to the toxicity of polarization is a united effort. Now, Seattle has a spark to do it. The transformation of our waterfront is a clear example, one of the greatest examples of what we can achieve when we work together. Workers, our tribes, businesses, civic leaders, philanthropic communities, bringing life to the radical vision and incredible promise for a new Emerald City Coast. Sort of throwing that name out there for fit a little bit. You know, I want to thank Mayor Nichols, who's joining us with us today. I talked to Mayor Nichols before I gave my speech. Raise your hand, Greg, where are you? There he is. It was his vision and leadership that set us on a path to change our city for the better. And Greg, thank you for that. Opening Overlook Walk propelled a new perspective for our city. First, a panoramic look at its beauty and an outlook of optimism radiating throughout Seattle, a ray of hope. Rare is the park that arrives as a landmark. Rare is an instant rival to our worldly known Space Needle. Rare is the infrastructure that inspires us all. So if you've been to Overlook Walk, you've looked out on a clear day, you look at the mountains and the sound and the people and the buildings, and you understand exactly what I'm seeing when I describe Seattle being on the rise. So this year, 2025, we will unveil the completed waterfront project with all 20 acres of new public space, and I, as your mayor, couldn't be more excited. It's symbolic of when we reinvent our waterfront. It shows the magnitude of transformative efforts. And its neighbor, the Pike Place Market, can also serve as an example for enhancing cultural landmarks through common values and thoughtful dialogue. Now, I have a vision for our connected waterfront, and Pike Place Market is one of the greatest pedestrian experiences in the country, where market patrons, visitors from out of town, and downtown residents do not have to worry about vehicle traffic. It's one thing to work your way through crowds of enthusiastic shoppers trying to get that nice juicy salmon. It's another thing to weave through stop-and-go automobiles. So achieving this goal will require ingenuity and, frankly, common sense. So as we make considerations for merchants and deliveries and ADA access, all of this will be put together in what we will propose. Now, unfortunately, we also have to look at this through another lens, and that will be the lens of the horrific and horrible vehicle attack in New Orleans. Now, I'm committed to bringing together our city departments, our market leadership, and other stakeholders to make sure this vision becomes a reality. Now, nearby at the Seattle Center, we have a campus full of amazing assets that welcome 10.5 million visitors last year to create lifelong memories. Right now, at this moment, I have an announcement to make. I was just kidding. I got you. Okay. Okay. It's a long speech. I had to break it up a little bit here. Now, what you really do want, though, is what everyone's been waiting for, and that's what I'm about to announce, is our new Memorial Stadium this July. Now, this partnership between the city and just a minute, broke my mayoral character here. Just one moment here. This partnership between the city and Seattle Public Schools, the team at One Roof, and our generous philanthropic community, the new Memorial Stadium will join the ranks of top-notch Seattle entertainment facilities and sports arenas. It is truly going to be awesome. Now, beyond the stadium, the Seattle Center is poised for the next great era as a cultural and civic hub, from serving as the official 2026 FIFA World Cup fan zone. Now that's going to be awesome. To longer-term plans to revitalize public spaces and learning centers. And I want to thank everyone here. There are many people here helping create that vision. Preparations continue for welcoming over 750,000 guests to our city for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. That's like doubling our city. A few weeks ago, we celebrated the 500-day benchmark. We're currently at 478 days away, but I'm not counting. We want to make sure that everyone in Seattle can get around safely and be part of this celebration. That's why I've directed city staff to stand up our World Cup Action Group and align our city departments to prioritize safety, transportation, and community activation. We're working with partners to secure the resources and support needed for a safe and enjoyable experience and to move people in and out of Seattle efficiently, with a commitment to helping 80% of our visitors navigate their trip without the use of a car. So I recently chaired a meeting with the other host city mayors to identify common challenges, create solutions, and secure funding. Later this week, I'll be meeting with some of these same mayors as well. Now, I have a loud voice on our needs, but it is even louder when I'm joined by the Los Angeles, Philadelphia, and Kansas City and other host cities who have football teams a little better than Seahawks, by the way. I thought I'd throw that in there. But there's strength in numbers in trying to make sure that our cities are prepared. Now, in Seattle, we are determined to host matches in ways that reflect our values, and I recognize members of our local organizing committee here. This will include a Juneteenth match featuring the U.S. men's national team and a Pride Week match. Now, how awesome is that? For us, this is a matter of civic pride. So this year's One Day of Service, to put a little plug in there, embraces a similar theme of civic pride and local values. So this year it will be July 12th. We will again invite thousands of Seattleites to spend one day serving one another, just 1 year out from the World Cup. Again, energy to make sure we are rising and we take pride in this beautiful city. World Cup preparations also challenge us to accelerate transit investments and our safety. Now, this place where we are, Benaroya Hall, is known for nationwide as the home of the Seattle Symphony. But locally, to many residents and transit users, it's also known as Symphony Station. So growing our transit network with fast, reliable service is one of our highest priorities in our administration. Sound Transit 3 is the largest transit expansion in the country, and that's why this week I'll issue an executive order to make sure the City of Seattle is taking immediate action to safely and efficiently expedite delivery of light rail to West Seattle and Ballard. Our collective efforts will include a newly expanded Office of Waterfront, Civic Projects, and Sound Transit that will be led by Director Angela Brady, who is a superstar in her own right, which will be at the center of orchestrating a surge in staff of up to 50 city employees, supporting project design, engineering, station planning, permitting, and even more. So we will propose, and I know I got several members of the city council like, what? Now, we've had discussions with many of our council members and community members on this, and so we're just excited about it. We'll propose new pieces of legislation to ease the permitting process. We are all concerned about that. So maintaining essential safety protections while reducing burdens and barriers to shorten project schedules. This becomes critical. This could save more money, more time, and perhaps a year off of project delivery, project time. Our region is clamoring for light rail expansion. That has become very clear. So this executive order represents the city's pledge to do our part to get things done as quickly as possible. We should pause for a moment and say that last year our Seattle voters, thanks to the work of all of you, overwhelmingly approved an unprecedented investment in making our city's transportation system more safe, connected, and reliable through the Keep Seattle Moving Transportation Levy. Everyone in this room, particularly the city council, everyone in this room should be very proud of that. And let's give ourselves a hand on that levy. I recently appointed Justin Farrell to be deputy mayor and Adiam Emery to serve as director of the Seattle Department of Transportation. Now, Deputy Mayor Farrell, which rhymes with Mayor Harrell, by the way, is hitting the ground running on our transportation, parks, and climate portfolio. And we are very proud of her leadership. And Director Emery, having spent nearly 30 years at SDOT, starting as an intern, then as an engineer, and now as director, is the best person equipped to deliver our plan of action. We know, yes. Now, we all know that the transportation sector is the biggest contributor to greenhouse emissions in Seattle, and that's why transit expansion and our transportation levy are critical elements in our fight against climate change. Now, we also recognize the federal government's agenda on climate change. It's sort of, let's close our eyes, pour fuel on the fire, and just pretend it's not happening. Smoke everywhere, but let's pretend it's not happening. Now, that approach is destined to fail and is destined to kill our planet. And that is why cities need to step up and take action in their place. And that is what all of you are doing with us. Our administration, led by passing nation-leading building emissions performance standards and by supporting electrification in new buildings and heat pumps in homes. With a focus on transportation, next month I will issue an executive order to update our 2013 Climate Action Plan to reduce emissions, build resilience, and grow a green economy through good union jobs. And I want to thank my labor partners and all of the climate advocates for being here. Together, the improvements we are delivering, from the waterfront to Pike Place, the World Cup to sound transit, climate and transportation actions, we will shape Seattle for generations. A more inviting, walkable, sustainable, and dare I say, fun Seattle. Now, I want to take a moment again to thank the team here, right here at Benaroya Hall, including Acting CEO Maria Yang, Symphony staff, and the professionals with IATSE Local 15 who have helped make this event possible. Last week, I met with Seattle Symphony's newest music director, Xian Zhang. That was a delightful meeting, and while it's not in my notes, I also want to once again thank Garfield's band. You know, they're on midwinter break right now. They're doing this because they love the city. They love the city, we love them. So we share a deep appreciation for everyone here. Benaroya is a cultural hub for downtown, for Seattle, and for the entire Pacific Northwest. Benaroya's efforts are aligned with the vision laid out in our Downtown Activation Plan, affectionately referred to as DAP. This is a city center that goes way beyond Monday to Friday as a pit stop, instead serves as a dynamic Sunday to Sunday neighborhood. Now, our energetic downtown efforts are bolstered by improvements in more safe and welcoming conditions just down the street from where we are now. Working with our partners, many of whom are here, DSA, Purpose, Dignity, Action, REACH, We Deliver Care, our downtown activation team, they're all conducting scheduled restoration actions. In downtown and the CID, these are actions provide robust and coordinated cleaning, safety operations with targeted activations. Consistently committed employees doing this work. Now, in the 5 months since we've launched this pilot, priority 1 calls are down 50%. EMS dispatches are down 15%. Violent crime is down 14% across downtown, with a projected 20% decreasing along 3rd Avenue in the Pike-Pine corridor. We've also ramped up operations in Little Saigon, where we've seen early progress, resetting norms and creating a more inviting atmosphere. I look forward to further building on this progress with help from Chief Sean Barnes. Now, under tragic circumstances, the nation received its introduction to Chief Barnes after the appalling shooting at Abundant Life Christian School in Madison, Wisconsin. But now Seattle is getting to know him one community at a time. And so this year, Chief Barnes will begin implementing the stratified policing initiative. This initiative will focus on identifying and tackling crime and disorder issues by analyzing immediate, short, and long-term patterns and addressing them swiftly, effectively, and collaboratively with an emphasis on community partnerships. We should also mention that we are seeing the tide change on police recruitment. Applications, retention, and recruits are on the rise. In 2024, for the first time in half of a decade, the city hired more officers than it lost, along with a 10-year high in applications. So we have momentum. That becomes critical in doing this work. This January alone, we hired 19 officers. That compared to 6 in the same time frame last year. Now, once again, if you're interested in being a police officer, you can apply on seattlepolicejobs.com. For me, it's sort of like fishing. You just keep throwing it out there and hope someone bites. To be very intentional about recruiting to a police department that we believe in. But in all seriousness, this has been hard work. Seattle is not alone in addressing the law enforcement staffing shortage. I'm grateful that Governor Ferguson has acknowledged the issue as a priority for our entire state. A new report from the King County Prosecuting Attorney's Office shows gun violence levels are trending downward for the first time since 2018. So together we're strengthening programs that reduce youth gun violence. We're taking action to hold gun traffickers accountable and advocating for reforms to help keep deadly weapons out of the wrong hands. Public safety is my highest priority as mayor. And I believe every community member, should trust that when 911 is called, they will receive the most effective and most appropriate response for their needs. Our care department is making that possible through both 911 dispatch and behavioral health crisis care responders. Now, just 2 years ago, I announced during this speech the establishment of the care department, the concept, the foundation. And only a year and a half ago, our first team of 6 responders turned the concept notion into a reality. Now, since then, care responders have deployed to more than 1,400 calls with a focus on issues related to behavioral health and providing support that didn't previously exist to those suffering on our streets. Now, they're staffed with 24 responders. CARE is helping people beyond downtown with responders on both the North End and on Capitol Hill, and over the next 2 months, we will finish our citywide deployment of CARE officers, CARE employees on the South End and in West Seattle. So, and for those care responders that are here, thank you for your work. You are doing it exactly the way we drew it up, with compassion, with empathy, with best practices. Now, with Chief Barton's leadership, we are creating a new paradigm in public safety. Seattle is the largest city in the nation to embrace and advance this model. This is the first program in the state dispatch via 911 as a true diversified response. We continue to innovate and refine every day to provide the best public safety service to all of our residents, regardless as to who they are or the harm that they are causing upon themselves. This is a critical approach. Public safety concerns are often confused for public health needs, including the devastation wrought by fentanyl. So this year, we are tripling our spending on public health toward addressing that crisis, funding treatment beds, new methods of services and medication, an overdose recovery center, and expanded post-overdose response team, while still, of course, arresting traffickers and those causing the most harm. Our Seattle firefighters and EMTs are on the front lines of this battle every single day. And under Chief Harold Scoggins, we are the first city in the country where firefighter EMTs can administer buprenorphine, a life-saving medicine that can serve as the first step on a path to recovery. In partnership with service providers in King County, this is working. In 2024, fatal overdoses fell 25% here in Seattle, outpacing the county as a whole. This is progress, but as I think all of you would agree, as long as people are dying on our streets and in our communities, there's so much more work to do. 2024 saw continued progress addressing encampments in public spaces. Our unified care team's verified tent count fell to its lowest number since I took office, with a 58% decrease from 2023 to 2024 and a nearly 80% decrease since 2022. Similarly, the number of RVs and encampments fell 35% from 2023, reflecting a more than 50% decrease from 2022. Now, I need to make this clear. This matters because it is paired with 1,800 individuals accepting a referral into shelter in 2024. And in our humane grassroots approach, while not every person will say yes and come indoors this time, we will continue to ask and create spaces for people to recover, because no, perhaps it just means not now, because we believe that every person deserves shelter. Seattle is home to nearly 85% of all tiny homes in King County. And I should repeat that because there's been a lot written about surplus of tiny homes. Seattle is home to nearly 85% of all tiny homes in King County. And we will look to, thank you. We will look to stand up additional, that was City Council clapping, by the way. And we will look to stand up additional non-congregate shelter this year. But Seattle alone cannot provide enough shelter to serve all of King County. And so that's why I'm very grateful for CEO Dr. Kelly Kinnison's leadership at the King County Regional Homelessness Authority, and why I'm pleased that the more streamlined governance structure is allowing us to provide improved clarity and cooperation. I look forward to our ongoing partnership. But as you've heard me say before, and I believe it is the mantra of many of you in this room, the solution to homelessness is housing. I want Seattle to be an affordable city that anyone can call home, a livable city that everyone can enjoy calling home, a place with housing for your kids and my kids, for seniors, for people coming out of homelessness, for working families. Under our administration, we've made the largest investments toward affordable housing in Seattle's history. These investments have helped open more than 5,100 units of affordable housing, including nearly 1,500 units of permanent supportive housing since 2022. Now, perhaps no project better represents the opportunity of affordable housing than our Fort Lawton proposal. Many of you have heard pieces of this proposal. Our plan would transform 34 currently underutilized acres into up to 500 homes and 22 acres of beautiful open space, recreation, parkland, and wildlife conservation areas, right next to the iconic Discovery Park. Now, this will be the largest single expansion of green space and parkland in Seattle in the past 25 years. We have worked diligently to highlight this plan, with the Biden-Harris administration hosting multiple visits by federal officials. I personally spoke with the HUD chair right before the administration change, and this is great work. I'm excited to share that right before the Biden administration and HUD Secretary Topman left office, a significant portion of the Seattle City's application to the 2025 Fort Lawton redevelopment plan was approved. This is perhaps the most substantial development in our efforts to redevelop Fort Lawton in 15 years. So this spring, we will submit our updated Fort Lawton plan to the City Council for their approval, hopefully, and unite organizations and community members to move this project forward. We recognize outreach and community involvement is critical to everyone's success. Now, responding to Seattle's affordability crisis requires going beyond homes developed for affordable housing providers. Our One Seattle housing agenda takes a multifaceted approach to a multifaceted problem. Zoning is part of the equation. Our proposal for the One Seattle comprehensive plan will double our zoning capacity and create at least 120,000 homes. Now, this is the most ambitious comprehensive plan update in our city's history, and is also the most necessary to deliver the needed housing, diversity, and capacity at a scale that will make a difference as we grow. Now, if you surveyed 100 people you get 100 different opinions on how we ought to zone Seattle. How do we know that? Because we heard from over 20,000 people in this city throughout the process, and we will continue to listen. It's sort of reminiscent as when I was a child at our family gatherings. A lot of people during the holiday season, a lot of passion, and yes, a lot of disagreement. But we have to listen. We have to work hard to listen. We work to get that layer of feedback with new state laws and understand how state laws are integrated into our plans, with the data that says this is the right approach. It must meet the needs of a growing city. Our plan is focused on lowering housing costs, ensuring Seattle is a great place for families, and creating livable neighborhoods. Seattle is a city of neighborhoods. They are unique and they deserve to stay that way. Even as we welcome new residents and create opportunities for our kids today to continue to call Seattle home, we don't want to lose that special quality in a warm neighborhood. But for Seattle to continue to rise, our neighborhoods cannot stay stagnant. That's why we must envision a new kind of neighborhood along Aurora Avenue, as an example, Aurora Avenue North. For too long, despite caring and involved neighborhoods, our dominant vision of Aurora has consisted of strip malls and car dealerships and illicit activities. The community deserves a neighborhood that inspires them with a built environment and an energy to match. I know I have at least one council member that I met with recently who would strongly agree with what I just said. So later this year, we will announce the Northern Lights Project, an effort to redefine this area and optimize great already existing assets. Bus rapid transit parks like the Bitter Lake Playfield and fantastic restaurants and small businesses. We will be seeking input from the community on what they would like to see. Now, the city, we all must acknowledge, must further cut red tape. Over time, the administrative processes for building housing have become too cumbersome and too complicated at the expense of actually building housing. Where we've already taken action, like SEPA exemptions and design review holidays, we've seen huge results. We've shaved 500 to 700 days off of production. Now that means opening thousands of new units as much as 2 years faster. And since I took office, over 33,000 units of housing have opened in our city. Take a project at 1120 John Street, the location of the old Seattle Times building. Because of these exemptions, we provided certainty to a developer who changed an office project into a residential one, eliminating 2 to 3 years of permitting, and now are on track to create 800 new residential units. Or consider these in combination with our downtown activation plan legislation promoting housing. You have the possibility of a project led by Rick Yoder to add 1,000 units of affordable housing along 3rd Avenue, close to where we are now, above Wild Ginger. So, exciting projects. So, in the coming weeks, we will send to the City Council legislation to streamline design review for projects of all kinds, reducing timelines by up to 50% to make it easier to build without sacrificing building safety or aesthetics. I will also soon issue an executive order to improve the permitting process, adding accountability, transparency, and consistency. Now, this effort will create what will be known as the Permitting and Customer Service Team, PACT. It's the first step in creating an executive office to oversee permitting and solve bottlenecks. PACT, and you'll come to know that term, PACT will go just beyond housing as well. It will also reform permitting for small businesses. I must talk a little bit about small businesses. Seattle wouldn't be what we want it to be without small businesses. Right now, far too many small businesses are struggling. I hear from small businesses all the time. I know the City Council hears from small businesses all the time. I don't know about the King County Council. You guys hear from small business all the time? I'm sure you do. You hear about rising costs, public safety issues, a reality that it's hard to operate a small business in Seattle. So I want more small businesses in Seattle, and the small businesses that are here, I want you to be successful and sustainable. So in the weeks ahead, I'll be sharing a suite of actions to help make it easier and more affordable to operate a small business. This holistic approach will focus on cost relief, targeted public safety efforts, permitting and processing improvements, and state and county advocacy. It also means the reintroduction of a very popular program known as the Storefront Repair Fund and an innovative new marketing campaign. We will continue to invest in services to help small businesses get off the ground with a positive trajectory that allows them to rise. Our Office of Economic Development under Director Markham McIntyre is providing real support and resources to get small businesses where they need to go. Jamila Conley with We Rise Wines is a great example. Jamila has an MBA and worked for many years as an executive at F5. But when she decided to follow her passion, her dream, and start a wine bar downtown, she found the process to be difficult and all-consuming. Because the City of Seattle provided individualized consulting services, Jamila was able to launch We Rise Wines, the city's first bar and restaurant focused on uplifting women and BIPOC winemakers. While I must say there's only one Jamila, we want more people with big dreams for small businesses in our city. So to Jamila, to our new entrepreneurs, and to all of our Seattle small businesses, we've been listening and we're going to do more to support your success. Now, mentioning that wine bar, I must say that after this long-ass speech, we should all have it and get a drink. Well, you know I don't drink. And if Garfield students are here, you have to be 21, by the way. But I know there are some future leaders and entrepreneurs here today. I want to again thank the Garfield Band. I want to thank the director Sessick, the conductor Saunders, and all the students and parents here today. The Garfield Music Program and the Garfield Jazz Ensemble are nationally renowned, and we are lucky to see them perform at a location that is up to their standards. I also want to wish the Jazz Ensemble good luck at the essentially Ellington Jazz Band in a few months, along with Roosevelt High School. Roosevelt High School Jazz Program, Gold Bulldogs and Rough Riders. My wife had the opportunity to visit some of Roosevelt's drama production, and they're doing great things over there, but now I'm getting in trouble because I single out 2 high schools, but forgive me. There's one Bulldog I want to call out in specifically, Senior Miles Hempel. Now, Miles is advancing to the state tournament in wrestling this week, and he's also a member of the band as a drummer. I've actually watched Miles finish wrestling practice and then go and put his drum sticks in his hand and get out there and motivate the basketball team. And on weekends, he waits tables at Geraldine's in Columbia City, where he happened to talk last Sunday, and he picks up the dishes and he pours coffee, and pours a mean cup of coffee, by the way. He was here this morning with us. Like Miles, like Kenny, like our students and our young people, they inspire me. I hope they inspire you. We owe them a city that provides every opportunity for their success. To make this a reality and make sure our city welcomes and keeps families in our neighborhoods. I'll announce details very shortly of my proposed renewal of the Seattle's Families Education Preschool and Promise Levy in March, and it is designed to do exactly that. Now, this levy has changed and adopted over the years, which it should. The name is simply now a lot of words to describe a very simple concept: to make this a city that embraces and supports young people from cradle to career. The investments I'll announce will put an even greater focus on childcare, a cost burden for families in a city that is already too expensive for too many. We'll add more hours of childcare and more after-school care in and near Seattle elementary schools. We'll focus more on the summer programs needed to keep kids engaged and learning and growing and thriving. A decade ago, we crafted a preschool program that is now nationally recognized and serves as 2,500 kids across 98 classrooms thrive. We must bring that same boldness to childcare. Seattle can be a national leader in this regard to get kids off on the right foot, to support working families and keep Seattle on the rise with a new generation of leaders. We'll do more to open doors for young people to enter well-paying jobs in trades, union jobs, public service, and we're going to keep our kids safer in school and on their way to school by providing additional staffing and violence prevention. Our proposal will continue the work Seattle has led to stand up additional in-school health centers and provide culturally competent, accessible mental health support to students and young people across our city. Collectively, let's claim this. We are going to make Seattle the safest, most supportive city in America for kids and families. I can't help but think of what Anya Peterson, a sophomore at Nathan Hale High School and a Seattle Youth Commissioner, shared with me very recently. She spoke about the lingering trauma of the pandemic and how so many students are still working to recover. But she also spoke of how students use resources like these to empower and build resilience and find strength and grow toward a brighter future. So we say collectively, family, to Anya, to Kenny, to Miles, and all the young people in our city, please know that we hear you. As a father of young adults looking to find their place in a changing world, as a grandfather to kids excited to learn and grow, I know the challenges we face as a city. We are not blind to them. I know the challenges we face as a nation. But please know and believe that I wake up every day ready to seize the opportunity to do right by you and the next generation. While we are making great progress, I know we still have real challenges in front of us. But through smart policy, through courage, targeted investments, programs that work, we will rise. We are rising. Now take it not just from your mayor or from a former Garfield High School student. Take it from what you see and feel yourselves as the leaders of this city. The city is on the rise. I know these words and this speech are somewhat long, but the stakes are high right now. The stakes are high in our lives right now for our children, and that's why we wanted to theme it with our children. But we rise together. We always do, and we always will. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Now we're gonna exit with the Mach 5 Kung Fu Dragon Lion Dance. I'm supposed to put these in the lion's mouth, I think. And you're gonna follow the lions out. Please see the awesome Garden of Remembrance that's outside. It's for the 8,000 residents that died after World War II. But where's my, we're doing, oh, here they come, here they come. Here it goes. You are to follow them out.